In this video, I'm gonna quickly cover probably my favorite PvP build when it comes to Division 2 right now, and surprisingly, I never thought I would be using this gun. And the gun I'm talking about is the Capacitor. So with this patch, it got quite a big buff. Actually extremely good when it comes to damage overall. Of course, Capacitor is one of those guns that are made for skill builds, as you can see on the talent. But if you know me, you know I never bothered with skill builds. So we're only looking at the second raw here, which is for each skill tier gains 7.5 weapon damage. Top of that, they got some pretty good mods as well, and it's pretty satisfying to use. And I have no clue who came up with this build, but Crypto did tell me about this build probably a month ago now, or maybe more. So I did use it back then, and as soon as I got it together, I just instantly kind of fell in love. So instead of putting so much into red or only into blue, we're gonna spec into skill tier. We have 4 skill tier, actually 6, and then we have 3 blue and 1 red. And the build is based around Ninja Bike, which makes a lot of sense when all of the 3 cores are actually available to us. On top of that, we can get great use of Picaro, because we get the skill tier there on the brand set, right? On top of that, we get a skill tier on the core attribute, and of course the weapon damage on the secondary attribute, which is just insane. Then we're also combining this with my favorite set when it comes to PvP, which is Umbra. Gives us 15 crit chance and 30% reload speed. Pretty good. But of course, the 4-piece is when it really shines. So to explain the talent really quick here, so you go into cover and you sit there and wait, and you will gain 10 stacks per second up to 50, and this gets increased with the chest and backpack pieces, right? And each stack will give you 1 crit damage and 0.3% RPM increase. So you sit in cover, and then you go out and just fight, and you will have high rate of fire and more crit damage. That's why we will build around crit. And the second thing is, when you are running around and fighting and not sitting still, you will also gain stacks. And those stacks will get consumed when you sit in cover, and they will heal up your armor. So you literally get damage and also passive healing that way. And since we have at least 5 skill tiers with the way I set it up, make our skills really good, but we only have 3 blues, or at least I have. So how do I increase the survivability? We do that with a defender drone because of the damage reduction. Almost 60%. Of course, in PvP, it's only 30. But 30%, that is extremely high. So when you're playing this, you want to make sure that you have your defender drone up, because if you don't have it up, you're gonna lose out on a lot of effective HP that you get from it. But sticky EMP is just so good. So it disrupts people so they can't use skills. On top of that, it staggers people. So it's just a great way to buy time until your defender drone is back. And on top of that, counter the pesky skill players, especially in conflict. As soon as I played without it, it just felt missing. So I think those 2 is definitely what I would recommend. So if we're gonna go through the build a little bit more in detail, so Ninja Bike will literally increase the gear set and brand set by +1, right? So we have 3-piece Umbra, so we have 4-piece actually, 1-piece Hillagard, which is 2-piece, and then Picaro, and also 2-piece. The Hillagard you can definitely swap around. I have been playing with the Walker to get more damage. Especially in conflict, I think that's the play. Then you get weapon damage and damage to armor, right? Hillagard gives pretty good survivability though. 5% total armor and 60% health. So you do get more effective HP that way. Core attributes on them, you can really mix it however you want. I decided to go 1 red, 3 blue, and 4 skill tiers, right? If you look here. And this is a crit build, which I think is why I kind of like it, because a lot of the AR builds are played as headshot damage, and it's kind of nice to just have a crit build so you can kill people when they start to dance around. So crit chance and crit hit damage focused. Umbra chest piece is important, so you get more damage, so that's mandatory to have. But crit chance, crit hit damage, crit chance, and crit hit damage. You want to try to hit 60% crit chance, of course, which I have here. But you got to keep in mind when you're playing conflict, you lose 10%, right? Because you don't get it from the Keener's watch. I guess we can check the crit hit damage. I usually never do this because it doesn't really matter. Just go crit it, just get close to the cap, and then put the rest in critical hit damage. Secondary, I have a card just because it have skill tier, and then I have finisher on it. Usually I just run like perfect finisher with orbit, which is more crit chance and crit damage when you finish somebody on the floor, which you can do sometimes in conflict, right, or dark zone, or you just kill a skill with it. I actually haven't got any use of cards, so I should probably swap to orbit. Other than that, I don't really use the shotgun. It's just sledgehammer, perfect sledgehammer, so I could nade. I guess specialization is actually worth to talk about here, because technician gives 1 plus skill tier, so that's 7.5% more damage, which is pretty good. You can, of course, just swap technician to firewall, so you can abuse the armor kit, right? 200% over time heal. But another great one for this one is survivalist. You get the flame grenade. Pretty good to create space. I remember using that in Dark Zone and it was actually great. On top of that, you have the armor kit that heals over time, right? And it also heals your teammates. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, but I will definitely have a gameplay video covering the Capacitor. I will see you guys in the next video or at the twitch.tv/widdz.